off what you said,
Mhm.
like we mentioned in the very beginning, man, this is Dream Week. So the whole idea and what we want to get through to you guys, especially the listeners, is like we want it to be more interactive, and we want
Yeah.
to be able to like have a breakdown of setting goals for yourself, like crushing your year goals, your month goals, whatever the case is. So I'm actually going to just dive straight into goal setting in itself. So I took a couple notes here. I'm going to read it and then kind of just freehand it at the same time. But I just want to start with goal setting number 1. So something I always think about this for me personally when achieving the end goal is how do you really expect to hit the bullseye, or how do you expect to get to the end goal if you don't really know what you're aiming at? Hence, making a plan for yourself, identifying what areas you need to target, what do you need to work more in. So which brings me to my next point. Everyone thinks about the end goal, of course, which is normal. Well, I mean, naturally, we love the gold, we love the win, the trophy, but I don't think a lot of people really understand that, day by day struggle, that day by day grind, which people really have to learn to just be comfortable with. And as I mentioned, man, ways to counter that is you need to be able to plan your days. That's helped me.
Straight up.
The proof is in the pudding. Either download an app on your phone or literally go to the store, buy a planner yourself. And if you're an early bird, wake up at 4:30 or whatever time works for you. I'm not going to give you guys a specific time. But wake up, get a pen, write down what you want to do for the day. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 4 goals that help you achieve the end goal. Or maybe you're a later bird. Maybe you like before you go to sleep, plan your next day. Just have something ready. And I think this will really help you create a road to follow, and it just keeps you on track.
The important part is executing your day.
Yes.
Like actually just I don't want to say don't worry about how long you sleep. Don't sleep, over 8 hours, to be honest. You're just wasting a lot of time. But sleep enough to where you feel good and just execute your day.
Right.
Make
It's all
yeah.
really a balance.
Yeah, it is.
I really like that one podcast we had. I believe it's like episode 7 or something, but we talk about balancing goals and just life in general.
Yeah.
That's a shout out in itself. I think you guys should rewatch that podcast because it was great. But as I mentioned, man, I want it to be more interactive. So I actually want you guys to go ahead and start small. I'm going to give you guys some steps for the listeners right now. So number 1, change your demeanor to your friends, your family, your coworkers, and walk with your head up. And one thing to always remember, and I learned this from personal experience, is be confident and not cocky. A lot of times we could get caught up in the position we're in, that we're blessed to be in, and we get too caught up with all that, all the gratefulness, all the fruitfulness, and we forget where we came from. And there's people just like that we still need to help out. And which brings me to point number 2, is get used to overtime, man. And it can, like I said, start small. Even if it's your day job, even if it's a side hustle, do overtime. Do what you don't see everyone else doing every day. And stay a couple minutes to clean or whatever the scope of work is for you personally. And then number 3, for starting small, identify the wrongs with yourself. I mean, what are you currently unhappy about? What can you work towards? What can you fix? What can you overcome? The true battle is yourself. You're at a constant battle with your own brain. Yeah. You're like, do I have the capacity to do this? Do I have the ability to do this? The answer is yes. You just need to find it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And how you find that, how you do it, is 2 magic words. Take action. I think this is a big step that everyone skips. And I even broke this one down for you guys, so you can take this. Number 1 is visualize your ultimate goal and your purpose. And one thing, as I mentioned before, is understand the grind. Is your body fit for this? Are you ready for this?
Add to that. So like when you say visualize, some people kind of think about that and they're like, oh yeah, this is what I want. But it's like that feeling, right? You have to have like that feeling where it's like so crystal clear, where you're just like, you
Right.
can't sleep until you did what you did that day, until in order to reach that goal for that day. It has to be like a really strong feeling. It can't be something where you're just like, yeah, this sounds really cool.
Exactly.
And I want to have that one day. Like a lot of time it's when people have that material visualization instead of like that full fulfillment in your heart where you did right.
You see yourself
Yeah.
doing it physically, mentally, all of the above.
Yeah.
And number 2, for take action, man, plan your freaking days. I'm going to sound like a broken record on this, but I don't care because it helps so much. Make the sacrifices, drop phone time, get off the social media and focus on the analysis, whatever it is. Apply for a class. Whatever your scope of work is that you want to become better at, you need to take a step in that direction. And number 3 is to overcome. You need to know yourself, Like I said, know what you're capable of.
Yes.
See if that goal is really for you, man. If it's really what you want. And you also need to understand, I like the way I put this. This is just something I came up with, is you need to adopt like the killer mentality. Of course, not physically, but I was thinking about it as like a more
serious.
a more serious, like attack depression, attack your fear, your anxiety, because if you're going to travel the road that is less traveled upon, you're going to come across a lot more obstacles that you're going to be blindsided by. So that's something you constantly need to attack every day and get used to. So that's kind of like my step-by-step breakdown of goal setting.
Now it's actually just taking action on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and some people get like halfway through, or it's one of those things where you really have to. That's why writing it down and making sure it's there, it keeps you kind of accountable. You know, like having like that list every day you have to like write down and like fully check off, because some people go through it and just be like, you know, maybe I'll skip this a day, and then eventually it's like skipping another thing, and eventually you're just back to exactly where you were.
Yep.
Something I just thought
No
of.
progress.
You know, I know that people say that you shouldn't share your goals with people, but I think that should be okay with like your close people, like, you know, like how we surround ourselves, like, you know, we all surround ourselves with each
Intimate
other
group.
because you know, we have like the similar mindset. You know, we all understand like we have like similar goals of where we want to get in life, so it's okay to share your goals with those kind of people, because you know they'll hold you accountable. Because if you just set your goals for yourself, like, you can hold yourself accountable, but then if let's say like you have like, you know, a group of similar friends and they're like, oh, how are your goals going? Oh, you're doing good. But if they don't know what your goals are, they can't specifically target it and be like, well, how's this going? Like, is this going okay? Is it not? Why is it not going okay? Because you can lie to them and be like, oh yeah, no, my goals are going okay. Like, one of them might be going okay, but not all of them. And then, you know, you want to make sure that all of them are being hit. So that's why it's okay to share your goals with your close friends so they can hold you accountable.
Yeah.
I love that.
I don't care. I'll let the world know, because my goals are so high.
That I
They
can't touch the ground.
They can't touch the ground.
I love that, dude.
I'll never shoot them down.
Yeah, man, but this is serious. I mean, I really want to get really interactive with the listeners right now. Like, whatever you're doing, just stop and listen. I truly think everyone listening to this podcast right now is capable of achieving greatness. If that dream that you're really thinking about right now, as you're hearing me talk, that's the one that you need to chase. That's the one that you need to drop and make sacrifices for to achieve.
Take that step right now.
Right
If you're
now.
listening, like, you might be at work or you might be driving, but make that mental note. If you're driving, the second you stop the car, make that mental note to start making that list and really, truly think about that for a second, and think about those goals in your mind that you truly want to achieve and what it actually takes to get there. Instead of just coming home and be like, you know, I'll be lazy today or whatever it might be. You know, have something to do to where it's going to get you closer to that goal, whatever it might be. You might want to live, you know, just I don't want to make this sound like mean, but like, you might just want to live like a quote unquote regular life, which is okay, because some people, that's what they want. You know, they want to just work their day job, they want to buy their house, they want to build a little family, the white picket fence, and that's totally okay, because that's what you want. You know, if that's what you're okay with, and as long as that's what's in God's will and you're living it out, then shoot, you know, like, have at it. Get there, you know, get there. And
I promise you, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't there, and I don't think like that sometimes, because I promise you right now, and you're probably thinking this right now, there's this little voice in the back of your head saying, why do you need to strive out for greatness? Why do you need to achieve this? The answer is your wants and needs, man, and what's better for you. Because if that is going to fulfill your life and your purpose, there's only one thing you need to do, and that's take action on your goals.
Like, I don't believe in coincidences or just like luck. If it like comes to you and you have that idea, it's for a reason. You know, whether God wants you to just try it out, dabble, and learn something, and you just go back to your old life because you learned and you became more mature, then you have to do it. But if God put it there just so because that's in your plan, that's your blueprint, and you need to go through it because that's what you're called for, then you're gonna have to try it, because you never know what you're called for until you end up doing it and you succeed in it. Then you're like, oh, wait a second, this is what I was supposed to do.
And when you do go after that goal, say you don't like it, well, at least now you know, okay, I don't like this is not for me.
And you have to identify too what you necessarily don't like, or because it's too hard. Because some people be like, I don't like it, it's too much work. But it's like, no, like, you're supposed to go through that work for a reason, you know. It's like that, you'll know, you know. It's one of those feelings where you just know, you're like, okay, I'm meant to do this for a while, and then all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, you know, this is what I was supposed to do. I was meant to talk to the people I was supposed to talk to. I was meant to learn this. It's time to move on. And that's kind of the moment where I hit at this current job, where it wasn't anything like specific. It was just out of nowhere. I was like, yeah, you know, I've met the people I needed to meet. I talked to them. I learned. I'm educated, and it's time to move on. It was nothing specific.
Mm-hmm. It's not like you plateaued where, or
Exactly.
it can be too, where you get to a certain point in your job and there's just no way up, and you might as well just like find a different opportunity. And usually like that's when like an opportunity will come where, you know, like if you feel like you're pretty stagnant, if you feel like you're plateauing, more than likely there's always going to be like an opportunity that pops up that's like, why, it's like, that's weird, like that's something like I've kind of been thinking about, or like that's something I kind of need, like maybe I should, like,
It just happened.
yeah, it just happens. And you know, either you take it or you just stay stagnant, and then you end up just feeling like, you know, you don't really feel good about yourself. You don't, you know, you just like fall into like oh, I have to do this, you know, instead of saying, you know, waking up and be like,
Exactly.
yes, I get to do this. I'm so excited to build my goals and become better, and, you know, wait for more opportunities to come to me, or see what doors open up for me today or tomorrow or the next day.
Another thing is, waiting can also mean actively waiting. You know, making those moves to talk to people and interact with other people, and actually seek certain goals. Use your personality and things that you like to actually go find some things to do, because one day you're not gonna have time. And I hate that cliche saying of like, oh, live your life while you're young. You know, you have time. There's so many years ahead of you. It's like, no, God has the date set. You don't know what date you're gonna die. You don't know. He knows. We don't know. So do your best right now to live those days. And if you live your last day grinding and you end up just dying, getting hit by a car, I don't know, whatever it might be, something super random, then that's it. You know, like, at least you know you tried your best and you were living out the will you're supposed to live. But one day you're not gonna have time. You're gonna sit on the couch and be like, oh, I'll have time tomorrow. I'll have time tomorrow. I'll have time next week, next month. I'll have time. Today was busy, blah, blah, blah. One day you're going to look at the clock and be like, holy shit, I'm 70 years old. Where'd the time go?